Good evening, my beloved family of YouTube. This is Weletekidan, aka Key. Welcome to my digital empire. Yesterday, I was taking a walk and I was thinking about constitutional monarchy and kings and queens in history, in African history, and how I really am fascinated by having that structure for Africa. So I really like it crossed my mind that I have always wanted to have an empire for many people, like a big house that can accommodate as many people as possible, like living in a community. So I was wondering about that, and then I said to myself, but I still have a digital empire. My YouTube is my empire. So yeah, anyways, today I would like to talk to you about rejection, which happened to me recently. The biggest rejection that I would ever face as a woman and as a person and as a spiritual divine feminine. And I have rejected a few people also on the way. I think there's a lot of rejection going on, or I'm becoming aware of rejection for the first time. I mean, for what it is in its fullness, how it feels like to be rejected, how it affects human psyche to be rejected by something or someone that we give value to. So yeah, I mean, a rejection can be so bad that I would see most people thinking about revenge because they take it personal when someone that you love the most, a person that you love and you care about, rejects you and do not want you in their lives. There's a tendency in all of us, at least our first primary reaction would be taking it personal, and it certainly messes with your self-worth, and you might even think that you are going insane, you are going crazy. How is it that, what is it that I'm lacking that this person that I love so much do not want me back? What is it that I'm not doing, that I'm not seen, I'm not feeling seen, I'm not acknowledged by this person or this group of people, right? So that question of what am I lacking, and that lack of sense of worth, how it messes with our sense of worthiness when we are rejected, that motivates us even for revenge. We think about revenge, like showing to the person that rejected us how it feels to have a negative emotion of some sort. So even though we are normally nice people with good set of values and we're compassionate and things like that, even though we are so good and nice, when we are rejected there's a wound that gets to be touched. There's a deep core level insecurity and not enoughness and unworthiness that comes with a rejection, all right? So in the process of being rejected and rejecting also, I of course I reject more than I was rejected, because I got only rejected by one person that I have ever loved and will always love, and in fact can never stop loving. um so like I took it personally at first. I mean, I thought it was about me, but it's never about me. It took me, of course, a day or two to realize that it's never personal. Just because someone doesn't want to be with you doesn't mean you're not good enough, or you don't have what it takes to be in a romantic relationship. It doesn't say anything about you whatsoever. It just means that they're tapping into a different reality, or you're not on the same wavelength, or they're interested in something else, or they feel that there's something missing in their connections with you. So whatever you do or however you show up in that relationship or friendship, whatever, it could be your family, it could be your friends, it's not enough for them. So it doesn't mean you're doing anything wrong, or There is so much more. You are not enough as you are. You are not. It's just not personal in general. So someone that I rejected, for example, took it personally, so literally and personally, that they came back to me, with an agenda of attacking me emotionally, and um kind of tried to interrupt my life, to in order to produce that negative emotion that they have felt when I rejected them, in order to put me in the same state of mind. It's a sort of revenge. That's when I realized that it's really bad how rejection affects people, especially with a low um, emotional intelligence. Me, it takes me just a few weeks or days to process something and to understand why it's there, and to understand how it's supporting my evolution. But not many people have that intelligence in them for one reason or another. So they kind of take it personal, and it's really too bad to feel rejected. It's one of the heaviest emotions ever. Of course, there is guilt, there is shame, there is not enough, there is wounds from childhood. All of We can imagine different type of negative emotions, but rejection is also one of them. And of course, nobody knows how to handle rejection because they lack emotional intelligence, and they were told that they're trying to prove something, right? One way or the other, people are always trying to prove something to the society that they live in. So just get them in their core, so they take it so personally. It doesn't matter whether it's a big rejection or small rejection. The reason why I say that, for example, I got rejected by someone I really, really want to be with, and I know that I still want to be with them, and I know that I'm fighting for it, and I would never give up on the connection, because in my heart I feel that I belong to the person and that person belongs to me. It's a matter of time before we come together in union. But whether we are united or not, whether he chooses me in the end or not, which I'm open to, I'm not 100% sure as to whether I'm going to be chosen by him or not, or even like there's timing at play, and I'm really thinking about how I want to be treated in a relationship. So it's not only the heart, for sure, even though my heart knows that I belong to him, and I love him with everything that I am, precisely. There is still some kind of discipline and trust. We have to learn about trust. There are some lessons that need to be learned before we come into union. And God knows when that happens. I believe in divine timing. So, anyways, but when someone says that, I don't tells us they don't feel the same, it hurts us, right? I was hurt. I doubt myself for that moment, especially. I didn't know who I was anymore because I got involved so much. It hurts me to the extent that I was involved in that connection. I gave it all I have, and I still do. But anyways, like there's level to rejection, okay? Like some men, for example, would see women for sexual desire. It's their sexual desire that encourages them to make a move, and then when they make a move, the woman might say, no, I'm not interested in you. That might hurt them as much as my deep connection hurts me. It's always about perception. So it's not what happens to you, but it's how you choose to handle it and how you choose to see it, whether in a positive light or in a negative light. Do you feel victim, or do you let your pain to empower you or to victimize you? It's really up to us. Trust me, I've been in both of these situations. I felt victim and I felt empowered. Now I am really in a good place in my mind, in my heart. I'm always thinking, seeing things as they're serving me. It's everything is serving me, whether it's negative or positive. It's bringing me to the person that I'm supposed to be, that I was meant to be. Of course, I'm spiritual, so I think that I'm in my right path, in my destiny. I have always been living for my destiny, but I'm right on track more than ever in this time in my life. So, anyways, how you handle rejection is just says a lot of says volumes about the person that you are. I promise. I have rejected a few men in the past few weeks, months. Yeah, there's always, when you are a woman, there's always men coming, saying this or that. Like some men want a marriage, some want like a beautiful relationship, connection, whatsoever. Men come with different agenda, and since I am bonded with someone that I chose, that I know that I belong to, I normally say no to this man. But then how they handle it is just there's a kind of mirror situation, especially with someone that I've met recently. So he showed me through the rejection how he handled being rejected by me. Showed me um how I am internally feeling the rejection, and how I am, like how I deal with the rejection. It made me think about how I choose to deal with the rejection and how it affects my psychology as a woman. Am I not beautiful enough? Am I not intelligent enough? Am I doing something wrong? Right? We always question ourselves when something that belongs to us leaves us. So something that happens very recently, I mean, the person that I rejected, that I didn't want to be involved romantically with, it's a mirror situation. It reflected back to me and made me to think about how good am I how good how good I am I really at handling rejection. Since my spiritual awakening, I've been rejected by so many people. Friends don't want to be around me anymore. Like I feel the same also. If they're not spiritual, there is definitely misalignment in that friendship. So I'm also usually pulling away from friendships from time to time. But in times of healing together, or I don't know, Jal sends me to some people, for example, to serve other people, even though I'm not accepted. Sometimes the universe just is like commands you to go somewhere, to some people, to tell them a sort of message, or to tap into some kind of mystical consciousness, to understand where they are in life and to help them in a subtle way. There's a different approach to this spiritual life in general. So I got rejected by family members, by my aunts, uncles, father, mother, and siblings. I got rejected by friends, by people that I just randomly know, because they always see me, talking about spiritual things. We are, I'm ahead of them, evolutionary speaking. Of course, there are also some people that are ahead of me. It doesn't mean I'm better or worse than anyone. It's just I know where I am, evolutionary speaking, and I trust my mind, and I really understand who I am as a person. And I also have that tendency when it comes to other people. I would just get them in general. I would see every bit of them, and I get them to open up for me. Not that I'm playing any type of trick, but it's my energy that motivates them to open up for me. So when I talk about me, it's really I'm talking about you. As you know, I live in unity consciousness. I don't feel separate from anything. But this rejection situation, how I have a free will, you have a free will, right? We all have our choices to make. So how we handle it is different from a person to a person, and as well as our journeys, right? My journey is different from yours. That's why, I mean, one of the things also rejection does to us, to you, to me, is it puts us in a state of wanting to explain or defend ourselves. And in my understanding, there is no need to explain myself to you, as also to defend myself to anyone. I mean, at least I might defend myself in the right circumstances where I have to. If someone comes to me and says that something, accuse me of something wrong, that's something that I haven't done, I would definitely defend myself, right? I would set a boundary there. I would defend myself. I say, I didn't do this. You are wrong. And this is how I think. This is how I feel about what you are saying in the situation, whatever, whatever, in order to work it out, right? It's a healthy communication. But in general, I don't feel the need to defend myself, to be guarded um, about what people think about me, what people say about me. If they think that I take advantage, for example, if they feel that like I take advantage of people, I take advantage of them one way or the other. I don't need to. I don't feel the need to defend that. I will just let them have it because that's their reality. So when they project it onto me, I know that the intention is just because they judge themselves in the inside, they're judging me, right? Like when they say that I did something that I didn't do, it's a judgment, of course. It's a projection. But if I agree to that projection, if I defend that projection, I'm agreeing to it somehow. I'm saying what you said is right, so I wanna defend it. I feel the same about what you're saying about me, so I'm gonna defend it in order to make myself feel better. But if I don't feel the need to defend it, it just means I'm confident in who I am, and I will let you think whatever that you want to think about me, because it's important for your evolution as well to have that judgment toward me, so you can learn from it when the right time comes, and when you see it for what it is, you learn from it. Also, why we feel the need to explain ourselves when it comes to rejection is that if we detect, especially as an empath, if you feel that someone is rejecting you, you kind of come up with the stories that are supportive of what you do, or the things that you accomplish, or the things that you like. You explain We tend to explain ourselves from time to time in order to convince people why we should be loved or acknowledged or respected, right? This is also for a person who know themselves inside and out. uh, Explaining ourselves is not necessary. Nobody can come to me and ask me, put me in a place of explaining myself when they don't even know how I lived my life. It's only me, it's only Key that knows what kind of journey that I have traveled, and which type of trouble that I have ever had, which type of joyous moments that I had. It's me that knows the whole package. I might share it with the world, I might share my life with the world, I might tell it to a very intimate partner or friends or family. Still, nobody knows me the way I know myself. So nobody can put judgment on me, or put me in a situation where I feel the need to explain myself to them, because whether I tell them that I am this way or that way, in the end it's me that can decide what I'm worthy of. It's can me that can um, decide how to respond to life, how to relate to myself and to the rest of creation, right? So rejection really affects the human psyche on a deeper, much deeper level. I mean, even in this video, I have not covered everything for sure. Um, it triggers the inner child, how you were treated as a child. Uh, it just when you feel rejected, it's related to how you treated as a child. To say one example of my personal life, I have always had abandonment issues. I can't say I have it anymore for sure, but I had an abandonment issue. It's a core wound because I was left by my mom and my dad when I was a child. I grew up in a community where most of my needs weren't met, in a very poor living condition. Even I was sent to government school and things like that. So it's always in my subconscious. There's that wound encoded in my subconscious. So when I got rejected by the person that I love, it took me back all the way to my childhood, and it reminded me of that emotion of not enoughness, that emotion of feeling misunderstood, unwanted, and rejected. So, rejection is not only something that happens to you as an adult, also it happens to your inner child. So it triggers your shadow. It brings you to in a place of being overly emotional, and in that time you might end up hurting yourself or just doing something that generally do not describe you as a person. So my friends, this video I have made to tell you, please don't feel the need to explain or defend yourself from anything. God, the universe, accepts you and loves you and sees you as you are, and that's the only thing that matters. In the end, it's the relationship I have with myself that detects how the relationship I have with life and with others goes. So focus on the internal dialogue that you have in your mind about who you are as a person, and what kind of emotions are being produced by the thoughts you have about yourself. Most of us live with a very dense inner critic. I had it and I might still have it, but I have a better control of it now. The inner critic is that voice that tells you, that constantly reminds you of what you could have done differently, or the things that you need to change in yourself. The inner critic, it's a negative voice in your head that just keeps on criticizing you, everything that you do, how you move, how you eat, how you are as a person. So there is no need to give in to that voice, because love transcends all kinds of limitations. When you choose love and when you become love, you transcend all of these limitations: guilt, insecurity, mm, or not enough, right? Abandonment, codependency, addiction, um, less childhood trauma. Everything is related to how you feel and how you think, how you feel about who you are, and the thoughts that you have about who you are. And we need to be conscious of them. We need to kind of illuminate on these things in order to come to the destiny of accepting and loving ourselves unconditionally. So in when we are in that state of mind, it doesn't matter whether 100 people reject us or a million people reject us or one person reject us. At the end of the day, we know that we can always love ourselves, and we know that we have a healthy relationship with ourselves. So yeah, um I mean, thinking about rejection, it just really takes me to back to Jesus and how he was treated in here on earth. They crucified Jesus, I mean, Judas, and the whole story in general. It shows me a lot about how being spiritual in this time, and always actually, how being spiritual is related to rejection, because it's through rejection that we learn about a part of us that can never be rejected. Our soul, a part of us that's always loved, and that's who we are at the core, at a deeper level. That's who we are. So, if they crucified Jesus for teaching about love and unity, you can imagine in this Babylon world how much rejection and judgment we can pass through, especially as a spiritual people. So hang in there, my friends. If you have been rejected recently, I see you. It can be so difficult, but it's only bringing you closer to who you are. It's bringing you to a space of being your bestie, your best friend, your mother, your father, anything and everything that you think you don't have, you can give it to yourself. And I believe in you. And please don't make rejection personal, and don't think about revenge whenever you're rejected. Even the revenge is not only to the person that rejects you, but also the revenge can be towards yourself. You might want to punish yourself for being rejected, which I did. I tend to panic. I kind of tried to punish myself because the rejection I have felt it in my heart. My heart was crying, so I needed to punish myself for that, but none of it was right. If I had taken 20 minutes after the rejection to breathe deep, to be aware of the situation and contain myself, if I had the emotional intelligence that I have now at the moment where the rejection happened, I'm sure I would have responded differently and it wouldn't have hurt the same way that it did. But that's things happen this the way that they should happen, because they, of course, it's a healing journey. So use it for your advantage, heal from it, listen to yourself. And it doesn't matter, I promise you, it doesn't matter how many times you've been rejected. You are so beautiful as you are, you're loved as you are worthy as you are. There's no difference between me and you. If I can make it, you can also make it. If I can survive a rejection of the one person that I have always loved, that I will always love, that person that I know from ages ago, that I share a soul frequency with, you can definitely get out of anything that you are dealing with. It doesn't matter what it is. So I see you and I love you. This is supposed to be, I think, video number 5. I'm back home from my trip. So in video number 6, I'll talk about probably about the summary of my trip, how the trip goes, and how about the spiritual insights that I had during the trip and how it really affected my consciousness. So yeah, tune in. Thank you so much for watching. If it's your first time, subscribe. It's gonna help me to actually it's gonna help me some way or the other. It's gonna help me most importantly to know that I'm really touching as many souls as possible. So I love you. Namaste. Bye.